Hello, in this video you're going to learn how we can work with different light sources to render our room. So this rendering demo will be focused exclusively on working with gray so that we get an understanding how the lighting will affect our interiors. So let's get started. The first thing that I would do would be to indicate this is just for teaching. It's not necessarily what I would be doing in a rendering, but if I have the light source, we have these recessed lights there. I would have roughly a cone of light like this hitting the walls. That is if the light is coming from these two sources. What else? We also have the light coming from this lamp. Since it has a top and a bottom opened, we would have a light source coming this way and then coming this way, and then a circle on the ceiling around here. So it would be kind of confusing at this point. You would be like, whoa, what's happening here? What we would be doing is, since we have intersecting cones of light, what we would be doing is, let's imagine that we would not really have that intersection in between these two shapes. We would have something like this. And then we have obviously that larger cone of light affecting the other. So we would have something like this, and on the floor we would have a shape like that. Alright, so what this means is that we would have gray on the areas that would not be really touched by those cones of light. Let's explain this. So what you can do is place tracing paper over your drawing to mark first where you would have your light sources or where you would have your cones of light, and then you could add gray around this. Alright, something like this. Alright, so we would use our markers using vertical strokes to cover the whole thing. Alright, so this could be a bit confusing if we work this way, but on the other hand, it's effective. That would be just the light that would be hitting the ground. Okay, so what we can do is just cover the whole thing with gray, minus those areas that I pointed out, those cones of light. Alright? So roughly we would have something like that, and then the cone of light coming from this area would kind of create a shade or a shadow over here, and then these pillars would be in dark minus the top part. This could be shaded. The top of this ledge on the bed could be light, hit by light, and you see this circle over here would be continued over here, slightly moved sideways because of the difference in height. We would have something like that, and then this could be grayed out. So as you can see, we would work with gray marker over the whole thing, minus those areas that are covered in light. So this is roughly how we would be able to do it. But let's pause for a second and then recap, and let's now work in reverse from gray, erasing certain areas so that you get the concept of working with the light sources. Alright, so imagine that we turn off the light. Imagine that we don't have any light sources. Now imagine that we turn on this light, this lamp, right here. Alright, so if that lamp is turned on, we would have a cone of light approximately here, and then on the ceiling here. Correct? Something like this. Okay? And then on the wall, like this, on both sides of this table, a little bit here, and then on the floor, like this. Alright, let's continue working. Now let's turn on these two lights, these recessed lights there. The first one on the right would cast a cone of light approximately here. Correct? Now that cone of light would make this reflection on the wall a little bit brighter, as well as kind of cast a little bit of an edge of light on this edge and also on these two corners of the pillow, plus this bump, and a little bit of this corner on the bench. Now let's turn on this light over here. It would cast a cone of light on the back wall approximately here, and then kind of straddling over this window and the frame. And then this edge on the bed would be even brighter. The top of these two pillows would be even brighter. This edge might be brighter. And then maybe it might catch a little bit of light on top of this frame, slightly on the top and on the bottom. And that would be it. Also, what we would see is the opposite, darker tones on the floor. So what we would be able to do now would be to darken certain areas, such as this portion here, this side here, the side of the bed, the side of the bed here, of the sleigh bed, and the floor somewhere here. The majority of the light source is coming from this angle, so that means that we would have a shadow coming from the left side of this pedestal that we have. Also, this edge would be slightly darker, especially on the top over here. And then this edge of the frame, and then the bottom of the frame over here, top of the frame there, a little bit of shadow there, some shading on the blinds, the lamp would be slightly darker there. Let's add even stronger shadows over here. And this is not even working with color, this would just be light sources kind of working with them. And this side over here, even darker shadow on the floor, coming from the bottom of this chest, somewhere along like this. And then we would add, if we can call it that way, more layers of color. Now we would be able to work with color per se to just make it look like colorful and represent better the materials, right? So far we have just a gray study of the different light sources, but hopefully with this video you'll get an idea on how light sources, artificial at least light sources, can affect our interiors.